trying to get in the zone
Ooh,
now.
and Arjun Erigaisi also looking like he... And they are off. And we see Arjun Erigaisi open up with the E-pawn, and Hikaru, well, he means business. It's a Sicilian.
And knight c6, we get an open Sicilian. This is going to be exciting stuff. We'll keep you up to date, of course, with all of the openings. We've just had liftoff everywhere. Most games are not beyond move 1, move 2 at this point. But Ivanka, an open Sicilian, this is a surprise.
It is a surprise. And, you know, Hikaru, when he wants to, he can really lock down the game. But for him to actively take this style, you know, and this approach, because Erigaisi is known as a dynamic player, but this opening Hikaru used to successfully defeat quite a few players. I think Wesley So in the American Cup.
Yeah, he's been using it with success recently. This can... What's this exactly called? E5 first.
Is it not the Kalashnikov?
Kalashnikov, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can transpose to other branches like the Sveshnikov, but here black has stayed very flexible with no knight on f6 yet, meaning that white's bishop cannot come out to g5 to pin anything, and very often white's knight just gets kicked back, and it becomes very positional actually, much more so than most open Sicilians, where it's just about kind of neutral attacks on opposite flanks.
Yeah, and well, this shouldn't come as a surprise to Arjun Erigaisi, because I remember Hikaru using this at the American Cup with great success, and also he's played this many times online.
Yeah, and Erigaisi, normally he's one to play instantly, blitz out all of his moves as long as he's prepared, and therefore he plays a very quick knight to a3. This looks a bit unorthodox, but the c3 square is being reserved for white's other knight, and he's hoping now for a transposition into the Sveshnikov main line, where black would, for example, play a move such as a6, put that on the board, and maybe now knight f6, when things would transpose back towards more classical waters, b5, knight d5, or bishop takes knight first. And yeah, very well-known theoretical grounds there, as Giri photobombs in the background.
Yeah, he does. So, well, this game is going to be very exciting, but before I even think about going d5. So maybe make a random h6 move.
Yeah. Let's say I copy. Oh, h3.
Oh, and now you pass the move back to me, and and I think I still should refrain from lashing out with d5.
Yeah, d5 is very loose while the queens remain on the board,
Yeah, exactly.
Right? If it were an endgame, d5 really desirable. But
Okay.
what's pawn structure, Ivanka? Let's say I'm going to pose you an ethical dilemma. How many pawn islands are these? Is this one pawn island or is this 2 pawn islands?
I don't know.
Double
When I was taught chess, I was taught that there were 2 pawn islands because they can't protect each other.
Me too.
Okay,
But then
maybe it's the British School of Chess, because I've had this discussion with other people, and they're like, no, that's just 1 pawn island. I'm like, okay.
I once asked that question to Kramnik, and he said, no, so of course it's 1.
Yeah.
Then next to each other, it's just 2 islands, like, it's just a tall island. But either way, normally we would argue that black has fewer pawn islands, because as opposed to the white pawns, these pawns actually will protect each other.
Yeah.
So black would have 1, black would have 2 in the center, and then a third on the king side, and white 1, 2, 3, 4. So white would have 4, but it's normally better to have few if there are no pass pawns running down the board.
Yeah, you know what, I'm going to say I like black's position. I think white has to be very careful here, and I like what Hikaru is doing, challenging the c line, and maybe even initiate a set of rooks.
Yeah.
Trade of rooks.
Exactly. For example, if white were to be a bit over hasty here and play b5, he would just be left with
all the time, but you can.
We must never stop the way. Birds jumping and I hear my name, grasping into life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah. has gone and come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were
And sense the momentum shifting in favor of Hikaru. You know, he's got that great center. He can step up with the king. Yeah, I know White can hold solid, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would all rather be black here just because it's so harmonious. And this central pawn mass is much better than white's pawns, especially if there's a capture, then suddenly they're a big threat.
See against Hikaru, and what is happening here?
As expected, Hikaru's parked up his king on d6, very nice square. It's very hard for white to improve his position. I just want to mention it's important not to go for the tower of tripled pawns here, because this would be a check, and actually white would pretty much emerge with a decisive advantage. Suddenly black is left with the horrible pawn structure, and white has a 2 versus 1 majority on the queen side. So don't break the tension. Even if you win a pawn, it's not worth it. Nakamura resisting that temptation, of course. King d6.
Yep.
And for Erigaisi, does he break the tension? 4 minutes for Erigaisi. Okay, he's going to make the time control. This is move 37 now. Yeah, I was going to say he has to be patient. He has to sit and not do anything dramatic. You only worsen your position if you touch any pawns. So rook a3. Also nice because black was hinting at maybe a5 in the near future. So rook a3 cuts that idea out.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, what will Nakamura go for now? I wonder whether you could force the issue in some ways. If you really want the draw, if you're Nakamura.
I was wondering about
Yeah,
d4.
d4. I said you don't want to. If you want to win this game, you definitely don't touch this pawn.
Yeah.
But if you want to draw, is d4 possible? d4 maybe c4 though. And
Yeah.
this is a threat
yeah,
of a
yeah.
fork.
Okay.
So maybe just now, maybe you could take this pawn, but
This-
it's relying on some tactics. Knight c5.
Knight c5. I don't.
Actually, maybe knight f2 as well, because knight c5 I was relying on a5 as
Okay.
black. And it gets a bit tactical. It's
Yeah.
a bit tricky. Although, wait. Check. I wanted to come forward and attack this knight, but whoops. Checkmate.
Oh no.
Don't try this if you're Nakamura. The king gets caught in the center. Active king in the endgame. Normally a good idea, but backfires here. So, okay, he will not touch this pawn, of course.
Okay.
He'll most likely, I have a feeling, maneuver his knight. The knight c5 is coming.
Yeah, that's the big problem. I mean, you don't really want to be putting. Okay, so no, you can't rook b2 check. What is Hikaru going?
A5
a5
immediately.
immediately.
Wow. Just, yeah, actually, this is the most cynical way to force a draw. He's eliminating his weakest pawn. We talked about pawn islands, the isolated pawn. I was going to suggest this in a different variation, but this looks much more efficient now. After a capture, you just block, you take it off the board, and you argued it. No material left.
Yep.
This is Nakamura being ultra professional. He
And
knows the draw is enough.
any ways for Arjun to maintain the pressure? It's very difficult. I can't see anything.
The problem is after a5, you're pretty much obliged to take it.
You can actually go rook a4,
Now rook a4.
but then you can go pawn. No, that's just
I mean,
keep.
if you want a draw, you could probably take this one.
Yeah,
although-
then knight c5 again.
Yeah. c5 take. As long as I don't get mated in the center, which I might do. But even if black goes back here, it looks fine. It's safe enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, rook a4. Maybe the only winning chance.
I've got it. So if you go pawn takes pawn, I can actually.
Oh wow,
Oh.
Arjun offers a draw, and there we have it. Nakamura is confirmed as one of the candidates in 2024.
Yeah. Wow. In the end, what a pragmatic decision there from Hikaru Nakamura with the move a5, securing the draw. And there we see the two players. And Hikaru Nakamura now moves to 8 points, and as David mentioned, has now secured himself a spot at the 2024 candidates in Toronto. Now it will be up to FIDE, whether FIDE can defeat or draw against Alexander Predke. FIDE also on